we said goes, with the movie. But some of the things that I was disappointed in this movie was I felt like this movie was a cop out. I felt like the scariest part of The Nun is the nun.
Yes.
And I didn't feel like the character was used to its full potential because they were going with this possessed story. So you had the guy going around doing most of the killing, which is supposed to be the nun, but this guy's not fucking scary.
No.
So that was, we had a couple nun kills, where it was just her, but that was my big problem with it. And another big problem that I had with it was Sister Irene, I believe is her name, at the end of the movie. I don't know why, but they're making her as like this superhero type of shit in the film. And it, even when she's at certain death, she becomes Superman, and she doesn't die, that type of deal. And, this movie, it could have been, it should have been a lot better and a lot more than what it was. We, of course, reviewed this together when we saw it. We saw it in theaters, and we pretty much said the same thing. So if I forget to mention anything, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it back then. So number 29, The Nun 2.
Speaking of 2, I gave this next movie a 2. Number 28, Talk to Me.
Yep, that was my last one on the last podcast, so you go ahead and... I think you pretty shit on it pretty well, though.
Yeah, I didn't hold back because I knew it wasn't too far from where we were about to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What can I say about this movie that hasn't already been said?
Other than negative comments.
Just not a fan of this movie.
Nope.
Overhyped.
Yep.
I ranted pretty well on the last one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to give this motherfucker any more time.
Yeah. It's scat.
Yeah, it's a putz movie, and if you like it, that's fine. I'm just not a fan of Talk to Me, and I dread Talk to Me too.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to kick off 28 with, I don't know if you've seen this movie. If not, I'm going to elaborate. VHS 85.
Yeah, I watched VHS. Oh, holy shit. I totally forgot to put this on my fucking list.
Oh, really? So you actually did have 41.
I did have 41.
Well, let's just talk about it right now.
Yeah, that's fine. We're gonna wing this. I totally forgot I watched that. Holy shit.
Now, the stories in this movie I really liked, except for one. The one story I didn't like was that virtual reality type of story in the middle where the girl was on stage doing this performance.
It was weird.
Yeah,
I
just did not
fit
like
the
that.
rest of it.
The rest of them were pretty good. I liked how they connected, like those kids that were at the lake that get shot all up, and then the last story ties it together, and it's about this crazy ass family who have a pact, I guess, or a ritual where they go out and they kill 7 people.
Yeah.
And then there's the big shootout at the end with the police, and the girl tries to kill herself, but she can't die because she's been touched by the water, and it's something to do with that water that won't allow people to die.
Yeah.
That was cool. If we had an entire movie with that plot,
yeah,
that would have been solid.
Yeah.
Now, the other movies about the doctor and the fucking alien thing or watching the TV, like, it was But, that's why I put VHS 85 here, because I've seen the other VHS movies, and I think that as an anthology film, they were kind of a lot better than this as a whole. Now, that the lake and the crazy family story put together was awesome. Unfortunately, everything else was kind of just...
Yeah, I want a standalone, like, of the family and the lake and
Yeah,
stuff.
that was
that was badass and interesting. I was even like, oh, I liked how like it tied. It was nicely shot. It was very interesting, and how they used the VHS camera, because it was supposed to be back then. Did a very good job at the first person perspective. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
They did a good job actually incorporating old school commercials in between the things.
Yeah, it was nicely done. The other stories just kind of brought it down for me.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason I got it this far up. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about 27. Or wait a minute, do you have a different one at 28?
28 was Talk to Me.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to 27 because you talked about this movie in great details in the last one. And at 27, I have Exorcist Believer.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, Exorcist Believer. Everything you said, I agree with. I gave it a little bit more benefit of the doubt because I did think that the little girls' performances in the film were fantastic, especially when they were the demon. The story itself, I'm with you. I did not care for the priest. I thought he was a coward. I did not like the way the single father was portrayed as like this strong person, and then the actual mom and dad of the other little girl, the ones that were always in chaos and stuff like that. I will give a shout out and say that the nurse that played in this movie was another character that was actually really good in the film.
Yeah.
When you first saw her, she was like the annoying neighbor lady, ain't you gonna pick up your trash, blah 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 blah, and all this other shit. And then she ends up kind of becoming sympathetic and also the dude's best friend, the one that kept breaking into his house. He's like, why the fuck are you in my house? And he's like, oh, I thought you was home. I got a voodoo lady here for you to meet, shit like that. Yeah. I thought that his character was they should have did more. They had these interesting characters that I think that they could have built off of, and they really didn't do anything with.
I 100% agree. Instead,
they pushed other characters that you really didn't care for and you really didn't like. And you said it best, last time. I'm a little bit more forgiving of the film than you are. I see a little bit more positives, but all the negatives you said, I'm right there with you as well. So let's move on from Exorcist.
Okie dokie. That sounds good to me. I'm looking at my list. I got the next two switched up, but I can easily just fix it now. Number 27 for me is going to be Dylan's New Nightmare.
Okay.
If anybody's out there, they're like, Dylan's New Nightmare? Well, it's a fan-made film. This year we decided to incorporate any fan-made films that we watched. And Dylan's New Nightmare is a sequel to Nightmare.
Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a sequel, but more of like a follow-up of the character of Dylan, who was Heather Langenkamp's kid in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot the guy that played Freddy in Dylan's New Nightmare.
Yeah, I forgot his name too.
He did a pretty solid job.
He did a great job. Yeah, way better than Jackie Earle Haley in the remake.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was a good story. It was well played. Nice fan-made film. I guess you would call it a fan-made film or independent film. That sounds a little bit better. It's pretty much just like a continuation of like what happens after Wes Craven and like up to date with him. It's pretty good. I liked it. I wasn't, nuts about it, but it was a lot better than a lot of the films that I had before this one. Yeah, before this one. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Yeah.
That would be my number 27.
Well, my number 26, the reason why I'm not going to talk about it is because it's going to come up. So I'm going to save my thoughts for when it comes up on my list.
That's fine.
And it's not far away. My number 26 film is Insidious: The Red Door.
Okay.
And the reason why I got it at 26, it's an okay movie. From here on out, we're not saying that these are bad films at all. These are kind of like the okay films. These are like kind of in the middle ones. But anyway, Insidious: The Red Door, it's okay, but it's a little bit pointless. I don't think it furthers the story nearly as much as they want it or they try to portray it. It's basically you're following the kid that was possessed the first time in the original Insidious, and now he's teenage age and he's off to college, and they have completely wiped his brain as well as his father. They completely forgot about that shit that happened to him when they had to go into the further, as they call it, back when. You know, I assume it's like 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
But the mom that had played in the original Insidious movies, she has now passed away in the film, and he's going off in college. And even though he doesn't remember anything that happened to him as a kid when he was taken by the Red Devil dude, I forgot his name. Anyway.
The lipstick demon.
He starts getting nightmares and he starts having visions, and shit's starting to come back to him piece by piece by piece by piece by piece.
Yeah.
The father is experiencing the same thing. And they have a strained relationship. And we reviewed this movie, and I'm just going back over it in case you guys forget about it. But the main thing that I wanted to say is it's okay. It didn't really further the story, and honestly, if they never made it,
it's pointless.
It doesn't matter if they never made it.
Yeah,
to be honest with you. If you watch all of the Insidious films, and you know, I usually don't tell you to skip anything in a series. Or, you know, a movie that has multiple movies in it. But if you want to skip this one, you will not be missing scat.
I don't know how I feel about scat. Anyway, my next...
It kind of takes the seriousness out of anything you say, right?
It really does. It just goes straight to scat. Anyway, my next one that is not number 26...
it's 25, right?
No.
Yours is 26.
Yeah,
I went 26. Straight to 26.
Is going to be Never Hike Alone 2.
Okay.
Okay. They probably would have been a little bit higher on my list if they were actually theatrical movies, because this is the start of my okay movies. If you're kind of paying attention, because Talk to Me was 28, so everything below that, it can see the sheet. Okay. But Never Hike Alone 2 is a fan-made film about Jason in the wintertime, which all the fans are clamoring for. By the way, Dylan's New Nightmare is free on YouTube. I didn't say that. So if you want to go type in Dylan's New Nightmare, it's free. It's about an hour.
Are you sure you watched Never Hike Alone too?
Yeah.
Because this does not take place in the wintertime.
I'm thinking of the first one.
No, you're thinking of the second one.
What do you mean?
It's Never Hike Alone, Never Hike in the Snow, and Never Hike Alone 2.
Never Hike Alone 2. Yeah, you're right. I was getting the... Whoops. Yeah, no. I watched the new one, Never Hike Alone 2.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I heard snow and I knew.
Yeah,
that's the.
It threw me for a loop. Okay, I forgot about it. Anyway,
it's technically the third movie, but it's Never Hike Alone 2 because the snow one is kind of a one-off.
Right. Sorry. Yeah. you're right. It takes place at the camp and everything like that, and you have a lot of cameos and